Tony, Stephanie Chase.
Hey, Stephanie. Great.
So with owning Ring of Honor for the past couple of months, how have you found juggling that with AEW as far as time management, everything else you do, even sorting like the rosters and all the rest that you have, and then with it being now a pay-per-view month, plus you've got Forbidden Door coming up, what has that been like?
It's been the greatest run we've had. I think it was a crazy time. I've never been busier than I was through April and May, and now it's starting to actually like open up and light at the end of the tunnel in a really positive way. But I'm also excited what's coming in the fall and winter. So I'll come full circle back to AEW if I may. So and Ring of Honor, both. First of all, before I go full circle, I'll start. Ring of Honor, technically, it hasn't been a few months I've been the owner, actually. It just closed pretty recently. It was kind of a gutsy thing I did on working off the interim agreement, but I was actually the interim booker for a while there because I hadn't actually, Sinclair was still owning the company, but I had I'd taken over financially, and it was agreed that like everything was, it was really cool. They were really good to work with, and I think I was like, they wanted the Supercard of Honor to happen. I think it made sense if I was going to purchase the company that the Supercard of Honor would happen with me booking the show and running the show and taking since it's after the agreement, you know. But they were great. Sinclair was awesome with it. So I actually just closed pretty recently because they were awesome to work with. But it's a complicated asset transfer. I think sometimes like, you know, that's stuff that outside of the business. Sometimes people that aren't in the business communication with all the assets that were being transferred, and there's a lot to document, that we had made a deal. And it's a pretty famous story because I was not sure that it was actually going to close in time for the announcement in March in Daly's place when we did the announcement of Ring of Honor. So we worked off an interim agreement. So then we come back to that. As we close that, it was a really exciting time for AEW. The Supercard, going back to that and how busy I was around that time. We're getting ready for the NFL draft at the start of April. Fulham is in a really exciting position at that time. It was looking increasingly likely that we would get the automatic promotion, but also we really wanted to win the Football League Championship, which we did. And so going through April, it's always a crazy time for me with the NFL draft, especially I still do the same things I've been doing for many years where I like focus on the players that don't get drafted and try and use statistics to find some good undrafted players. And so that was a really busy time, and we were coming back. I literally flew in from TV in Philadelphia. I came from Philadelphia where Doug Peterson was the head coach, the Jags head coach, and then I came back for the draft. I had been in Pittsburgh and then came back, and I went to Philly and then came back right from Philly, and I literally got in the morning of the first round. And I'd been doing everything on the phone and Zoom. And at the same time, Fulham was cruising. The Ring of Honor, we had just done the pay-per-view, and I'm just really proud of the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And talk about pay-per-view length, you know, that was under 3 hours. It was like kept it to 3 hours. It's different. If that's really what people want from AEW, I'm open to it, okay? If people want less for their $50, I'm open to doing it if that's really what people want. But I do think, look, a lot of commercially successful things, the Batman, I see people saying to Matt Reeves, like, you made a long Batman, but it's also the most commercially successful thing that Batman's done in a long time. So it's worked very well for us because we did record numbers and the crowd was hotter than they've been. So, you know, you do hear, but again, you see that's the one thing people say about the Batman, right? 3 hours.
You're talking to me right now, but when you started...
Well, you're the one who asked.
I know, but when you started AEW, you said you didn't want to do these length of shows. You said you didn't want these WrestleMania-like shows. That's what I'm wondering is if your strategy has just changed in the 3 years.
Well, I've seen I've learned a lot, and pay-per-view numbers have grown, and again, that's part of like on pay-per-view, I think we've grown as a pay-per-view. Every milestone we could hit, we've hit. Every pay-per-view year over year has gone up, and we did it again tonight. And it was against probably the toughest competition for any Double or Nothing yet. I don't think we've had to face a Game 7 playoff with two big teams. 10 years later, literally 10 years after the Heat and the Celtics went 7 games, I was here when Manny Pacquiao left the crowd sitting. I sat for an hour waiting for something. And this crowd didn't sit waiting for shit. They had the hottest 2 lead-up matches to a main event they ever had, and then they had the hottest main event. It was the hottest go-home stretch of shows we've ever done. Again, I like giving people a lot for their $50. The Ring of Honor pay-per-views are less money, so I do them. It's a value the fan every bit as much, but we do a little bit. We charge a little bit less, and we do a little bit less. I've only done one, but it was one of my favorite shows I've ever done. I'm really proud of it. And so going back to that, I love doing that, and then since then. There's been the merge. What? Are you okay? Are you mad?
Sorry. Mandy's shaking her head. Sorry. Yeah.
No. You're okay. Is everyone okay? I'm fine. I was just re-answering going back to your question.
Fine. I wanted to address you too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I saw Mandy shake. You're great. You did great.
I apologize.
So Steph. So going back to this, because I really want to, it's a long question. There's a lot. So if you want to know everything, I'll give you a long answer. So then going through this merger and now the new company we've come out of with Warner Brothers Discovery, that is a really exciting time for us too. It's a really exciting thing. And then even this week, like I did press and I was on Zoom with the manager and the CEO of Fulham, and with Marco talking players all the days, get up early for that. And then, Jags were in camp. That's an exciting time. The coaches are starting to evaluate players coming in. It's kind of a quiet time for me in football. I was just at the NFL owners meeting. So I was at the NFL owners meeting in Atlanta talking about media rights and exciting things. I flew out here and for TV. So I was at the NFL owners meeting Tuesday, came out here Tuesday night. We did TV Wednesday. Thursday morning, I was up at 5 a.m. and started doing radio on the East Coast at 5:55, and then I did it till noon. Then I took a shower quickly. No, wait, no, that's not true. I did the all media call. I took a shower. I talked to a bunch of you on the all media call, and then I went to LA and I met with the new management of the company and then headed out there. And it was the most exciting, exhilarating meeting I've ever had in my life. And I've never felt better about the future of the company and more safe about what's happening here. And I'm feeling really good about the new Warner Brothers Discovery to have such a strong management. Nancy Daniels, such a strong leader, and she was really cool. And so I flew out to LA and back to meet Nancy Daniels along with her team. And it was some familiar faces and also new faces. And it's really exciting. It was my first time at Discovery. And what a great thing we have. This is the future of everyone who works here and the fans, who it's really important, because now I feel like there's a real Discovery sees too how important it is to the wrestling fans to have wrestling on TBS and TNT, because it was gone for too long, and it's really cool that it's back. I think it means a lot to a lot of people. I know it does. And so we have such great management there, and they ask such great questions, and it was really encouraging. And I know there's so many things we can partner on, and I'm really grateful for that. So that was probably one of the most important things going on. So it's a ton of stuff, and now the Ring of Honor is closed, and I'm still I think there can be a future there, hopefully with a weekly Ring of Honor and also big events. Supercard was a huge success. It was many times over recent Ring of Honor pay-per-views, one of the biggest Ring of Honor pay-per-views ever. And yeah, so it's all really exciting stuff. And then football season's going to start. Fulham's back in the Premier League. The Jags have a new head coach who's awesome, and I really love Doug, and he's brought so much experience. He won the Super Bowl. I don't know if you're familiar with. We come to England a lot every year, the Jaguars, and Doug. We actually played Doug, the Eagles, in the year after they won the Super Bowl, and the year after we lost an AFC Championship game. They beat us, and Doug, he's played in the NFL and he played in the Super. He's been on the roster of a team that played in the Super Bowl, and Doug's played in big games, and he's a great coach. So working with him's awesome. So I'm really excited for football season, both in the Premier League and in the NFL, and really excited for the summer to come in wrestling. I mean, to go to the Forum is a big deal for me. I claim a lot of places as homes, like Ted DiBiase when I was a kid. He changes residence every quarter, but I do. I live in a lot of the year in Jacksonville more, and I base out of there, but I travel 52 weeks a year every week for Dynamite. So I do, 175, 200 flights a year when you include football for both continents. And it's just 104 alone for Dynamites. And if I'm in Jacksonville, maybe twice a year, call it 100 just on Dynamites when you add in live rampages, pay-per-view specials, football. It's a lot. So a lot goes into it, but I try to manage the time and remember that I'm responsible for a lot of people, and I love every minute. I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I love it, because to work in those businesses, it means a lot. So LA is one of, along with Jacksonville, Champaign, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, and London. I consider LA one of my big 5 homes, and I've never gotten to work with AEW doing a show out there before, but it's where AEW was actually formed. And I was just telling the new management this story because it was actually out there where I first had the conversation. It was in April 6th of 2018, where I had a conversation out there that led basically the launch of AEW, and it was my partner in activist artist management, Bernie Cahill. He dragged me out on a Friday night, and it's a good chance we wouldn't be here if he hadn't. And I saw the president of TNT and TBS at the time, and he took a chance on us that I'll never forget. And then after the ratings were good initially, he took an even bigger chance on us and gave us the extension, because the first deal didn't pay that great, but it was still an opportunity to go on TNT and TBS, and it did pay something. And now it pays fairly, I think, and they've done very right by us. And now we have a whole new management team that can get behind us in new, exciting ways with AEW. So that's a lot of stuff. I also have, there's a bunch of other companies I'm on the board of our own that I'm not talking about here. True Media, Sports Analytics, but the management team there does a great job running the day-to-day and other business ventures. I'm on committees in the NFL. I'm in the fan engagement and major events committee of the NFL. In March, I flew out for TV out of the Fort Myers TV. I had a committee meeting in Palm Beach. I don't get much time to myself, so I was talking about Batman to Nick and how long Batman was. I landed in Monday night for a committee meeting in Palm Beach. Jonathan Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, is actually a big AEW fan, so he runs the fan engagement and major events committee, and he was nice enough to put me on it because I think we've shown that we do a good job engaging with the fans here and can add to the big events in the NFL, which are the biggest events in the world, and the engagement with the fans, which I think we do a good job with. And Jonathan's one of the world's leading experts on that and data. And he's a big wrestling fan. When we did Mox versus Nagata in the summer of 21, I knew Jonathan Kraft was a big wrestling fan when he said to me, like, you got them coming on your territory. And I was like, oh my God, you get Mox versus Nagata, the business of it. It's like, and at the time it was a business coup unto itself, what was happening in the world of wrestling. I got to lay the hammer down in a major goddamn way. So, so it's a lot, but I'm just, yeah, it's awesome. And does that begin to answer it for you with the juggle?
Yeah, kind of.
It's like juggling.
Yeah. A lot, yeah.
Great.
Sounds exhausting.
No, it's a great question. I hope it was a good answer, and
Yeah,
hopefully it's a start. It's a start.
Got just a few more questions.